The massive observation deck of the Galactic Council's flagship fell silent as the human vessel came into view. Through the reinforced glass panels, the ship looked oddly simple, a long, dark gray hull stretching nearly 3 kilometers from bow to stern. Its surface lacked the usual shimmer of quantum shields or the gentle glow of antimatter engines that marked most advanced civilizations' warships. That's their supercarrier. Admiral White of the Council forces couldn't hide his smirk. It looks like something from a primitive space museum. His silver skin reflected the starlight as he turned to face his fellow council members. The other alien representatives gathered around the viewing station, their expressions ranging from amusement to outright dismissal. Their scanners analyzed the human vessel, displaying readings that seemed almost laughably basic: steel alloys, titanium frameworks, and carbon composite panels. "They're using chemical propulsion for their secondary engines," commented Technical Officer Blue, his 4 eyes blinking in disbelief. "And their main drive, it's just a glorified fusion reactor. Not even a micro-singularity in sight." Below deck, in the Council flagship's main sensor room, the readings continued to pour in. The human ship, designated as UES Determination, moved with a deliberate slowness that seemed to reinforce its apparent technological backwardness. Its escort vessels, smaller ships that looked equally unimpressive, maintained perfect formation around it. "Look at those point-to-defense turrets," laughed one of the junior officers. "They're actually using physical projectiles, not even basic plasma weapons." But in his private quarters, Admiral Jack Thompson of the Determination watched the alien readings wash over his ship with quiet satisfaction. The humans had known first contact with the Galactic Council was coming, and they had prepared accordingly. His weathered face showed no emotion as he read the incoming data streams, but his eyes held a glimmer of amusement. "Sir," his executive officer reported, "they're scanning us with everything they've got. Should we activate our countermeasures?" Thompson shook his head slowly. "No, let them look. Let them see exactly what we want them to see." He stood up and walked to his own viewport, watching the sleek alien vessels circle his ship like curious predators studying potential prey. "How are our systems looking?" "All systems nominal, sir. Everything is running exactly as intended." The executive officer's voice carried a hint of pride. "The outer hull is performing perfectly. They're seeing exactly what the engineers predicted they would." Thompson nodded, allowing himself a small smile. Humanity had learned long ago that true strength didn't lie in showing off your best technology. It lay in making your opponents underestimate you until it was too late. "Maintain course and speed," he ordered, "and keep monitoring their scans. Let's see just how much they think they know about human engineering." He turned back to his desk, where a holographic display showed the true status of his ship's systems that were far more advanced than anything the Council's sensors could detect through the Determination's carefully crafted exterior. The game of deception had begun, and humanity was playing it perfectly. Commander Rex of the Galactic Council stood in the Determination's landing bay, trying to hide his disappointment. The human docking area looked primitive compared to the crystalline beauty of Council ships. Metal deck plates clanked under his feet as he walked, and the air smelled of machine oil and electrical systems. "Welcome aboard, Commander," Captain Thompson greeted him with a simple nod. The human wore a plain blue uniform without the floating rank insignias or neural interface jewelry common among Council officers. "We're honored to host the Council's top military advisor." Rex's translator converted his complex speech patterns into basic human English. "Thank you for allowing this inspection. Though I must admit, your technology seems rather basic." He didn't bother hiding the condescension in his voice. Thompson led him through the carrier's corridors. Everything they passed seemed to reinforce Rex's initial assessment. Simple steel doors that opened on hinges instead of sliding into quantum space, traditional computer screens instead of mural projections, and crew members actually walking between stations instead of using teleportation pads. "Here's our main engine room," Thompson said, opening a heavy door. Inside, massive fusion reactors hummed steadily. Rex noticed how the human engineers actually used physical tools to maintain their equipment instead of mind-linked repair drones. Fascinating, Rex said dryly. You still use manual labor for repairs. We find it reliable, Thompson replied with a slight smile. Sometimes, the old ways work best. As they toured the weapon systems, Rex grew increasingly confused. The ship's main guns were basically advanced railguns, simple magnetic accelerators throwing metal projectiles. The point defense systems used ordinary explosive warheads. Even the fighter craft in the launch bays looked outdated, with visible cockpits and chemical thrusters. But something bothered him. The crew moved with too much confidence. The systems, while appearing simple, worked with perfect precision. And occasionally, he caught glimpses of things that didn't quite fit, like the strange patterns in the hull metal, or how some doors seemed to close a bit too smoothly for simple hinges. One last question, Rex said as they returned to the landing bay. Why do you rely on such traditional technology when more advanced options are available? Thompson's eyes twinkled with something that might have been amusement. We believe in using what works, Commander. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. As Rex's shuttle departed the Determination, he began writing his report for the Council. He documented the carrier's apparent technological backwardness, its reliance on physical weapons and manual systems, its lack of advanced energy shields or quantum computing. But in a private note, he added one line. Something isn't quite right about this ship. The humans are either remarkably backwards, or they're hiding something significant. Unfortunately for Rex, he wouldn't have to wait long to discover which was true. As his shuttle docked with the Council flagship, emergency alarms began blaring across all frequencies. A hostile alien fleet had just appeared at the edge of human space, and the Determination was the closest major warship to respond. The real test of human engineering was about to begin. Red warning lights flashed across the Council flagship's bridge as reports of the hostile fleet poured in. 12 warships of unknown design had appeared near the human border colonies, their weapons already charged and shields raised. The nearest Council battle group is 4 hours away at maximum speed, Admiral White announced, his silver skin now pale with worry. These raiders will devastate the colony before we can respond. Commander Rex watched the tactical display with growing concern. The hostile ships were advancing rapidly, their energy signatures suggesting powerful weapons. Then he noticed something. The human carrier Determination was already moving to intercept. Surely they don't intend to fight. White scoffed, but his voice held a note of uncertainty. Their primitive vessel won't last 5 minutes against modern warships. Aboard the Determination, Captain Thompson sat calmly in his command chair. Around him, his crew worked with practiced efficiency, their hands dancing across what the aliens had dismissed as obsolete control panels. Enemy fleet approaching, sir, his tactical officer reported. They're running hot, energy weapons and plasma torpedoes. Standard pirate loadout, but high-end stuff. Thompson nodded. Send the Council a message. Tell them we'll handle this situation. He pressed a button on his chair, a simple physical button that had made Commander Rex shake his head in disbelief during his tour. But this time, something different happened. The Determination's primitive hull began to change. Panels that had appeared to be simple metal shifted and realigned. The dull gray surface rippled as layers of advanced nanomaterials activated. Hidden weapon ports opened along the ship's flanks. On the Council flagship's bridge, alarms suddenly screamed as their sensors detected massive power spikes from the human vessel. Impossible. Technical Officer Blue shouted, his 4 eyes wide with shock. Their energy readings just jumped by a factor of 1,000. But their hull, it's still showing as basic materials. Thompson's voice came over the Council's comm system, calm and almost amused. Council Command, be advised we are engaging the hostile fleet. You might want to watch this. You could learn something about human engineering. The Determination accelerated with shocking speed, its previously primitive engines now pushing it faster than any Council ship could match. The hostile fleet noticed too late. trying to scatter as the massive carrier bore down on them. "Launch all fighters," Thompson ordered. "Activate electromagnetic warfare suite. Show them why humans still believe in primitive technology." The carrier's launch bays opened, releasing swarms of fighters that the Council had dismissed as outdated. But now these fighters moved with impossible agility, their hulls shimmering with the same advanced materials as their mothership. From the Council flagship, Commander Rex watched in stunned silence as the Determination's true nature was finally revealed. The primitive carrier had transformed into something else entirely, not through flashy energy fields or quantum technology, but through clever engineering and carefully hidden innovations. The real battle was about to begin, and the Council was about to learn why you should never judge human technology by its appearance. The first shots fired by the Determination shocked everyone watching. Instead of the expected primitive projectiles, the carrier's railguns launched rounds that split into thousands of smart submunitions. The hostile fleet's energy shields, designed to stop plasma and laser fire, proved useless against the physical impacts. "That's impossible," Admiral White whispered, watching from the Council flagship. "Those are just metal projectiles, but they're changing course mid-flight." Captain Thompson stood on his bridge, watching the battle unfold with calm satisfaction. "Activate electronic warfare systems," he ordered. "Let's show them why we kept our computer systems looking so basic." Suddenly, every hostile ship's control system went haywire. Their quantum computers, far more advanced than the Determination's apparent technology, found themselves overwhelmed by what seemed like impossibly complex human coding. Targeting systems failed, shields flickered, and communication channels filled with static. "Sir," one of the pirate captains shouted over a broken communication channel, "we can't get a lock on them. Our sensors say they're everywhere and nowhere at once." The Determination's fighters swarmed through space, their previously primitive designs now showing their true nature. What had looked like simple chemical thrusters were actually advanced plasma drives disguised to fool observers. Their armor, which had appeared to be basic metal, absorbed enemy fire like it was nothing. "How are they doing this?" Commander Rex demanded, watching the battle from the Council ship. "Their technology. It's all wrong. It's not following any normal development path." On the Determination's bridge, Thompson allowed himself a small smile. "Launch second wave," he ordered. "Show them what human point defense really looks like." The carrier's surface rippled again as hundreds of smaller weapon ports opened. What erupted from them wasn't the simple explosive warheads the Council had observed during their inspection. Instead, clouds of micro-drones filled space, each one carrying a tiny but powerful electromagnetic pulse generator. "Their shields are more vulnerable to physical penetration than energy attacks," Thompson explained to his crew. "So we built our weapons accordingly. Sometimes the simplest approach is the most effective." The hostile fleet tried to regroup, but their advanced technology was working against them. Their complex quantum shields couldn't stop physical objects. Their eye-targeting systems were overwhelmed by human electronic warfare. Their energy weapons dispersed harmlessly against the carrier's true armor. "Sir," Thompson's tactical officer reported with pride, 5 enemy ships disabled. No casualties on our side. The nano-repair systems are handling all damage automatically." From the Council flagship, Admiral White watched in stunned silence as the supposedly primitive human carrier systematically took apart a fleet using technology that by all rights should have been far superior. But the humans hadn't built their ship to match alien technology. They'd built it specifically to counter it. "Now you understand." Thompson's voice came over the Council comms, still calm and professional. "Why we let you think our technology was primitive. Sometimes the best weapon is letting your enemy underestimate you." And the battle was far from over. The Determination was just getting started. Just as the Council observers thought they had seen the full extent of human deception, space itself seemed to ripple around the Determination. Multiple flashes of light announced the arrival of what the humans called their support fleet. "Captain," Admiral White called urgently from the Council flagship, What are these new signatures? Our sensors didn't detect any other ships in the area. Thompson's reply was calm as ever. Did you really think a carrier travels alone? Meet the rest of Battle Group Delta. 6 more ships dropped their stealth fields. Each one looked as deceptively simple as the determination had been, but no one was fooling themselves about their true capabilities now. 2 destroyers, 3 frigates, and what appeared to be a light cruiser took up perfect formation around the carrier. Impossible. Technical Officer Blue stammered. They were here the whole time. But our quantum sensors, they should have detected them. On the Determinations Bridge, Thompson opened a channel to his battle group. All ships, execute Pattern Omega. Show our guests how humans fight as a team. What followed was unlike anything the Council had ever seen. The human ships moved in perfect coordination, but not through advanced AI or neural links. They used what looked like old-fashioned radio signals, signals that couldn't be hacked or jammed by quantum interference. Look at their formation. Commander Rex gasped. They're not just fighting. They're herding the enemy ships. The human vessels wove an intricate dance through space. The destroyers' apparent weaknesses became strengths, their primitive armor shrugging off hits while their simple projectile weapons punched through advanced shields. The frigates deployed clouds of what looked like space debris, but were actually smart mines that predicted and blocked enemy escape routes. One of the pirate captains, growing desperate, tried to jump his ship to faster-than-light speed. The attempt failed spectacularly as the human cruiser revealed another surprise, a gravity well generator that had been disguised as a simple communications array. "Sir," reported Thompson's tactical officer, "the enemy fleet is now completely contained. Battle Group Delta reports all systems functioning at optimal levels." From the Council flagship, the alien observers watched in stunned silence. The humans hadn't just built advanced ships, they'd created an entirely new way of fighting. Each vessel complemented the others perfectly, covering weaknesses and multiplying strengths. "Notice," Thompson's voice came over the command channel, now carrying a hint of pride, "how our ships work together. No fancy neural networks needed, just well-trained crews, reliable equipment, and centuries of naval tradition." The remaining pirate ships found themselves trapped in an ever-tightening net of human warships. Their advanced sensors were blinded, their shields were useless, and their weapons couldn't penetrate the deceptively tough human armor. "This," Commander Rex muttered, finally understanding, "is why they let us think they were primitive. They wanted potential enemies to underestimate not just their technology, but their tactics too." And still, Thompson knew, they hadn't yet revealed all their capabilities. The real show was yet to come. As the battle paused momentarily, Captain Thompson invited Commander Rex back to the Determination for another tour, this time without the deception. The Council officer couldn't refuse such an opportunity to learn the truth. "Those simple metal doors you mocked," Thompson said as they walked through the corridors. "Nano-fabricated titanium alloy with self-repairing properties. We found out long ago that physical doors are more reliable than energy fields in combat." Rex watched in amazement as Thompson placed his hand on what had seemed like an ordinary wall. The surface rippled, revealing layers of technology far beyond what the Council had imagined possible. "Our entire hull is like this," Thompson explained. "Layers upon layers of smart materials, each one designed to look primitive to scanners. We didn't try to match alien technology. We made something better." They reached the engine room, which now hummed with an entirely different energy. What had appeared to be simple fusion reactors now clearly housed something far more sophisticated. "Cold fusion?" Rex asked, his translator struggling with the energy readings. Thompson smiled. "Better. We figured out how to harvest zero-point energy without creating quantum instabilities. Those primitive reactors you saw, just the outer shell of our true power system." In the weapon control room, the banks of simple computers had transformed. Holographic displays showed the true complexity of human battle systems. But what shocked Rex most was seeing crew members still operating manual controls. "Why keep physical controls when you have this level of technology?" he asked. "Because humans are better at split-second decisions than any AI," Thompson replied. "We don't replace our crews with computers. We enhance them. Every primitive switch you saw is connected to a quantum computer, but the final decision always rests with a human operator." They reached the fighter bay, where maintenance crews worked on what now clearly weren't simple spacecraft. The fighters' hulls shifted colors as their adaptive camouflage responded to the lighting. "Our greatest achievement wasn't developing advanced technology," Thompson explained. "It was learning how to make it look primitive. Every piece of equipment on this ship can be repaired with basic tools, even though it's more advanced than anything the Council has." Rex stopped at a viewport, watching the disabled pirate ships floating helplessly in space. "Why reveal all this to me now?" Thompson's expression grew serious. "Because the galaxy needs to understand something about humans. We don't build things to look impressive. We build them to work. Every piece of technology on this ship was designed with one purpose: to protect human lives and interests. We don't care how it looks, only how well it performs." As if to emphasize his point, one of the carrier's primitive radar dishes transformed, revealing itself as an advanced sensor array that could scan entire star systems. "Remember this, Commander," Thompson said quietly. "Humans learned long ago that true advancement isn't about having the flashiest technology. It's about having technology you can rely on, no matter what." The lesson was clear. Human engineering wasn't primitive at all. It was simply practical, taken to an art form. The remaining pirate ships, desperate after seeing half their fleet disabled, launched a final massive attack. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes lit up space like artificial stars. From the Council flagship, Admiral White watched what he thought would be the destruction of the human battle group. He was wrong. "Battle Group Delta, execute formation echo," Thompson commanded from the Determination's bridge. "Show them everything." The human ships moved with impossible precision. The Determination's fighters formed complex, three-dimensional patterns that seemed random at first. But as Commander Rex watched from the carrier's bridge, he realized the truth. Every movement was perfectly calculated. "Their formation," he gasped. "It's like a dance." The fighters wove between enemy fire, not just dodging, but actively redirecting energy weapons back at the pirate ships. Their primitive hulls now showed their true purpose. Each fighter was a mirror-finished work of art, designed to reflect enemy fire. "Launch the drones," Thompson ordered. Thousands of small objects erupted from the carrier's launch bays. The pirates laughed at first. They looked like simple metal balls. Their laughter stopped when the balls split apart mid-flight, revealing swarms of tiny robots that attached themselves to enemy ships. "What are they doing?" Rex asked, watching the drones work. "Teaching them about human engineering," Thompson replied with a slight smile. "Those simple robots are rewriting their shield frequencies. In about 10 seconds, right on cue, every pirate ship's energy shield suddenly collapsed. The drones had analyzed their technology and found the perfect counter, all while looking like primitive machinery. "All ships, open fire," Thompson commanded. The human battle group's response was devastating. Railguns fired smart projectiles that curved through space, finding gaps in enemy armor. Point defense turrets launched what looked like normal missiles, but split into clouds of self-guiding submunitions. "This is impossible," one of the pirate captains screamed over the open channel. "Their weapons are just metal and explosives. How are they beating our advanced technology?" The answer came in the form of the Determination's main guns. What the Council had dismissed as oversized railguns revealed their true nature. Each shot created a localized distortion in space-time, turning simple metal projectiles into unstoppable forces of nature. "Sir," Thompson's tactical officer reported with pride, "enemy fleet is completely neutralized. No casualties on our side. Minimal damage to all ships." From his position on the bridge, Commander Rex finally understood. The humans hadn't just built better ships, they'd revolutionized space warfare itself. Every primitive system was actually cutting-edge technology, disguised to look simple, but designed to work together perfectly. "Captain," he said slowly, "I believe I owe humanity an apology. We weren't just wrong about your technology. We were wrong about everything." Thompson nodded, watching his crews begin the cleanup operation with practiced efficiency. "The greatest weapons aren't the ones that look the most advanced, Commander. They're the ones that work when you need them most." The battle was over, but its impact on galactic politics was just beginning. 2 days after the battle, the Council's highest military commanders gathered to watch the combat footage. The room was silent except for occasional gasps of disbelief as they analyzed every aspect of the human battle group's performance. "Look at this," Technical Officer Blue pointed at a holographic replay. "Their repair systems are incredible. Watch how the hull absorbs damage and fixes itself." The recording showed a pirate ship's direct hit on one of the human destroyers. Instead of penetrating, the energy weapon's impact was absorbed by the primitive metal hull, which then seemed to flow like liquid, sealing the damage instantly. Admiral White stood before the gathering, his silver skin reflecting the holographic displays. "We've completely misunderstood human engineering," he admitted. "What we thought was primitive was actually perfect." Commander Rex, now the Council's expert on human military technology, stepped forward to present his findings. "Their entire approach to warfare is different from ours," he explained. "We build our ships to show our advancement. They build theirs to win battles." The footage shifted to show the Determination's fighter squadrons in action. The small craft moved with perfect coordination, their formations creating complex patterns that confused enemy targeting systems. "Notice how they used physical ammunition," Rex pointed out. "We thought this was primitive, but their projectiles ignore our energy shields completely. They designed their weapons specifically to counter our technology." In another corner of the room, engineers were attempting to understand the captured footage of human electronic warfare systems. They watched in amazement as simple radio signals somehow bypassed the most advanced quantum encryption. "It's brilliant," one engineer muttered. "They didn't try to break our codes. They found a way around them completely. Their outdated communication systems are actually more advanced than ours, just in a completely different way." The Council members were particularly stunned by the repair crew's efficiency. After the battle, human technicians had fixed major damage in hours, using what looked like basic tools but achieved results that Council repair drones couldn't match. "This is perhaps most impressive," Rex said, showing footage of a human repair team. "Look how they combine advanced materials with simple techniques. Any crew member can repair any system with basic tools, yet the technology involved is beyond our understanding." Admiral White faced his fellow Council members. "We need to completely revise our assessment of human military capability. Their technology isn't primitive. It's evolved along a different path than ours. And in many ways," he paused, choosing his words carefully, "it's superior to our own." As if to emphasize his point, new data arrived showing how the Determination's battle group had already repaired all damage and was ready for combat again. Council ships would have needed weeks in a space dock to achieve the same level of recovery. "Remember," Rex concluded, "this was just one carrier group, just one small part of humanity's fleet, and they're still not showing us everything they can do." The implications were clear. The galaxy's understanding of human capabilities would never be the same. 1 week after the battle, the Galactic Council called a special session. Representatives from every major spacefaring race gathered to discuss what they'd learned about human military technology. Captain Thompson stood calmly before them, his primitive uniform now commanding a very different kind of respect. "The Council officially acknowledges that we were wrong about human technology," Admiral White announced, his voice carrying across the Grand Chamber. "We formally recognize humanity as one of the most advanced civilizations in known space." Thompson's response surprised everyone. "With respect, Admiral, you're still underestimating us." A murmur ran through the gathered aliens. Commander Rex, sitting in the front row, leaned forward with interest. The determination, Thompson continued, is not one of our advanced ships. It's actually a mid-range carrier about 5 years old. What you saw was our standard technology, not our best. The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Technical Officer Blue's 4 eyes blinked rapidly as he processed this information. If this is your standard, Admiral White asked carefully, what do your advanced ships look like? Thompson smiled slightly. We prefer not to show those unless we have to. But I'm authorized to tell you that the Determination's battle group represents about 60% of our current technological capabilities. The council members looked at each other in stunned silence. The ships that had so thoroughly outclassed advanced alien technology were only showing a fraction of human potential. But why? Rex asked. Why hide your true capabilities? Because, Thompson explained, humans learned a hard lesson from our own history. The best defender isn't the one who shows all their cards. We keep our most advanced technology in reserve, not because we want to deceive, but because we understand the importance of having an ace up our sleeve. He activated a small hologram showing the determination. Everything you saw, the adaptive hull, the smart weapons, the electronic warfare systems, that's all standard issue for our fleet. We believe in giving every ship the best possible chance of bringing its crew home safely. Admiral White stood. The Council proposes an exchange of military technology. We have much to learn from each other. Thompson's response was diplomatic but firm. We're happy to share our standard technology and engineering philosophy, but some things we keep to ourselves. I hope you understand. It's not personal, it's practical. As the session ended, Commander Rex approached Thompson privately. One last question, Captain. Those pirates we fought, you could have destroyed them easily. Why disable them instead? Thompson's expression softened slightly. Because humans also learned that the strongest warrior isn't the one who destroys their enemies. It's the one who can win without needless destruction. The message was clear. Humanity hadn't just mastered advanced technology. They'd learned how to use it wisely. The galaxy would never again mistake human engineering for primitive technology. As Thompson prepared to return to his ship, Admiral White made one final observation. We laughed at their primitive supercarrier until we realized humans built it. Now we understand. Sometimes the simplest appearance hides the most advanced technology of all.